Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla, let's go over the market, and let's talk about and figure out what is happening to Tesla today and what we can expect, of course, moving forward for the rest of this week and to close off this month, because it does close off, of course, on the Thursday, which also happens to be the Cybertruck event. So with that being said, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, as it does help a lot. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section is live. The link is down below in the description of the video. For $3 a month, you get my intraday thoughts on Tesla as it's moving throughout the day, where I share my thoughts as the stock is moving and giving you updates pretty much live. So with that being said, let's dive into it. Tesla on the day up about 5%, which is a phenomenal day. And if you bought it from peak to trough, or I guess from the bottom to the highest point, you are up technically, if you somehow timed the very bottom and went to the very top, about 5.5%, almost 6%, which is a phenomenal day for a single day. So like we said yesterday, Tesla is about to explode. Is it going to go up or down? You know, I've been saying constantly how I am personally a little more, I don't know if the right word is biased, but I guess favoring the upside. That's exactly what we got, right? Again, it's a bullish pennant. Doesn't have to act as a bullish pennant, or I guess play out as a bullish pennant technically, but it very much did. Now, there's a few things to note here. First and foremost, we had a massive bear trap, right? We had a massive bear trap right here. I even posted it. Let me scroll down to where it was so you can see exactly what it looked like as it was happening. So right here, it was this little situation. Let me open up this image in new tab so you can get a nice little zoom in, right? But you can see exactly what it looked like, right? This is what that candle looked like. This little green one right here, excuse me, this a very large green one, right? Initially, this is where it opened up and this is what it looked like. And it looked like it's about to fall down, right? And I tell my members how if the bulls are slipping control here and they need to push this back up sooner than later. And that's exactly what happened, because literally like 10 minutes after that, we pushed not only back into this overall pennant, but we had an absolutely astronomical, huge volume push rally. Now that not only broke the 240s, but also broke out of this bullish pennant and continued. And this is what happens when you break out, right? We broke out and then we continued, right? That's usually what happens. So phenomenal day, right? And we had that big move come in, like I said in yesterday's video's title. Now, this is where we're starting to enter some pretty interesting territory. And right, and the question, of course, is, well, okay, what happens next? So in my opinion, again, I still think the bulls have control, right? You know, we are starting to get a little bit into spooky territory, where, there is definitely some serious resistances coming up, but you'd be a fool to say that the bulls do not have full control here. First and foremost, right, if you just look at the overall structure since these lows over here, we are making higher highs and we are making higher lows, right? So from here to here, so we went up here, then we went down here, made a higher low, and now we're arguably making technically a higher high, right? We never actually closed the candle up here before. So we're technically making fresh higher highs off of today's close, which is great to see, especially on a very looking bullish candle on very nice volume too, right? Very respectable volume as well. So, the bulls have control. Now, like I said, things get interesting once we get to about 250 or like low 250s, not exactly 250, but low 250s, 250, 51, 52, maybe 53, right? But like essentially around that general premise or area, right? That's where things will get interesting. Why? Because that is, of course, where this overall bull flag that we are in, obviously, which again, if we break out, we'll talk about that soon, is extremely bullish. But with that being said, of course, we are approaching the top of this bull flag. So once we get there, which again is that very low 250s, like I said, between 250 to 253, we'll just say that range, depending on when it actually happens. Like if it happens tomorrow, then it will be pretty much like 252 roughly. But that is where a potential rejection, of course, can occur, right? And that's where, again, if there's a place to reject, if there's a place for, some major rejection or potentially like a sell the news or just something of the sort to happen, especially post Cybertruck delivery events, that is kind of the area to happen, right? This general area is the place for it to happen, right? If, of course, it were to happen, right? That'll be, again, the low 250s. On top of that, we are actually barely closing above the 100-day moving average, which is, of course, the yellow line. Now, not the most convincing close above it, right? It's pretty close, right? It's not like substantially above it, but nonetheless, it is still technically closing above it. The bulls are looking good. The bulls are looking freaking phenomenal over here, especially after such a bear trap earlier, right? Beautiful rally. Now, that's the main thing I'll be looking at for now. Now, if we come up to 252, and let's say we reject, right? Well, that's where, technically it's still bullish, right? And that really depends on what happens after a rejection. So for instance, we have this, like I said, we have this situation that looks something like this, right? We're making higher highs, higher lows. And let's say we come up to this general level. And let's say we come up to 251, just as an example, right? And let's say we do reject, right? Well, as long as Tesla just sets another higher low, technically it's still a bullish trend. For instance, we could do something like this. We can do this, then as we can come back down, retest this breakout from this bullish pennant, which will bring us back down to about like maybe, you know, very high 230s to very low 240s. Right. And then from there, technically, we can just bounce right back up, and we're essentially just consistently still making higher highs and higher lows. Right. That's always a possibility, because I'm going to remove this for now. Right. Because we did break out. Right. But this was the top of the channel. Right. This was the top of that bullish pennant. So if we just extend it, you can see, right, it does kind of line up with this overall idea that this is a potential. Right. So we rally up, maybe go sideways for, you know, Thursday or something like that, or maybe even tomorrow, right? But the point is, let's say we do have a sell the news post Cybertruck event, and let's say we do come back down to low 240s, high 230s. Technically, it's still bullish. Technically, it could just be a retest, and technically, we can just bounce off of that. People think it's a massive sell the news. People keep selling it and thinking like, okay, well, this is where Tesla finally cools off, and instead, what we do is we get another face ripper rally that actually also breaks out of this overall bullish flag, which if that happens, well, that gets really, really bullish. And that's where, in my opinion, we'll come up to most likely retest this blue line, which was that massive channel. And from there, things get interesting once again, but that'll take us much, much higher. And I think that'll take us somewhere to about like the 265s, which if we zoom out even further, we have, of course, still this overall red line. So this is, again, where it gets interesting, right? Because technically we never retested this blue line from this breakdown of this massive channel. However, in order to retest that, it will potentially line up, if let's say it happens sometime in early December, which will take us to somewhere around 265, it'll actually line up perfectly with this red line here, which is the overall downtrend that we are in since all-time highs. If I zoom out, of course, you can take a very good look at it here, right? Ever since all-time highs over here, we had this downtrend where we got rejected, right? Rejected here, technically here, we got technically rejected here, we got extremely close to it, right? You know, and we come up to it once again, right? That is a possibility, of course, but it also lines up with this overall blue line, which can technically also be a double rejection point, right? If there's another place to really, like, truly significantly reject, it would be around that 265 level early December. But the argument that bulls can make is the fact that, well, we also broke out of this bull flag. Was it just a false breakout, or will the strength of breaking out of this bull flag propel us further and beyond this 265 level and ultimately break out from the overall downtrend that we have been in since all-time highs? And if that happens, that is, to me, the ultimate catalyst. That, to me, is probably the most important thing Tesla stock can do, breaking above that red line that is, of course, that bullish, the downtrend from all-time highs. So that's kind of the main thing I'm looking at, right? And so we'll have to see how it reacts, because we're getting very close to some pretty important territory to really kind of pay attention to how it's going to react and, you know, how it's looking like, right? Because a lot of things can happen here. It's very hard to predict what exactly happens here, right? But this right here is kind of what I wouldn't be surprised to see. A little bit of a sell the news into a massive face ripper rally, as everyone thinks we're just going to continue selling off and it's just going to be a massive sell the news event or something like that, right? This would be like a way to trap a lot of people, in my opinion. Now, with that being said, let's say we just reject. Let's say we completely reject. Let's say we completely crash, right? Well, if we set a lower low past this low here that I just showed, right? The one we were pretty much setting right around this, like, you know, 230, 227-ish area. Well, that's when the trend starts to reverse, right? If we start setting a lower low, the trend starts to reverse, and then we could potentially be setting up for some bearish patterns as well. So if I actually quickly redraw one more time, right? This is, again, roughly kind of where we're in, right? Just, again, rough example, right? And let's say we reject, and let's say we come back down, right? And let's say we do something like this, and then we set like maybe a head and shoulders pattern, then we do something like this, right? This could also happen, right? This is something that you can't avoid as well, because this could just be a head and shoulders pattern that can also potentially set up. So there's a lot of things here that can set up. There's a lot of possibilities here. So this is a very, very interesting position, because it really is almost like the first part of like the do or die situation for Tesla's overall trajectory for this, honestly, for the next like medium to even potentially long-ish term. Like long term, Tesla's fine, obviously, but kind of the medium to potentially slightly long term, we're entering territory that can determine that, right? Do we reject here? Do we just fall back down from this bull flag? Do we break out of the bull flag? But do we reject at 265? And then do we start making lower lows, lower highs from there, right? There's gonna be a lot of important things to pay attention to that can determine it. Or do we just break out from all of them and then we just set up a bullish trend moving forward, even more bullish, and we have a phenomenal start to 2024. A lot of things can happen here. So it's going to be very crucial to observe and react accordingly, right? No one can predict and tell you exactly what's going to happen here, because no one knows what's going to happen here next, right? If anyone tells you that they know, they're full of shit. It's about reaction. It's about reaction. It's about understanding what the stock is doing, what the charts are telling you, what the candles are telling you, and, you know, et cetera, right? That's what you want to be doing here. That's the important thing to do here. But as it stands, as of right now, as of today's close, it's bullish and it's looking great. I'll be eyeballing pretty much the most important level right now is right around here with the 100-day moving average, but especially the low 250s of the bull flag. And if we happen to break out of that, again, it's bullish. We're breaking out of a massive bull flag. 265 roughly will be next, especially if we get there early December, where we get that potential double resistance. Could be a massive rejection. This bull flag breakout, assuming it happens, can be potentially a false breakout, which if we get a rejection from the 265 and it proves to be a false breakout and we fall back down into the bull flag, that would be very bearish. That'd be quite bearish, actually, I would even argue. But another possibility is that it doesn't, and we just break out and this momentum building up. Don't forget, we have a lot of momentum building up on the weekly, right? We showed the squeeze indicator over and over. Still red circles, still building up this huge momentum. And, we're getting, even on the weekly, you can see very close to breaking out. So a lot of momentum is building up. And this could be also the momentum, especially breaking out of a bull flag, this pretty large bull flag like this one, can be the momentum that we need to really push through and really, really just have a phenomenal rally, truly phenomenal rally that Tesla's overall really lagging behind on, right? Most of the market, like the major stocks like Microsoft, Apple, all these, Amazon even, I believe, I think even Facebook, right? They're all close to all-time highs, if not at all-time highs, right? Apple pretty much is right at all-time highs. Facebook is not far from it, or I guess Meta is not far from it. Microsoft is just setting all-time highs. Google is not too far away from all-time highs as well. It's very, very close, right? I think I don't know where my Amazon is. I'm trying to look for it here without hopefully missing it. AMD's, AMD is kind of lagging. NVIDIA, phenomenal, just rallying right here. Amazon, right? Amazon, I guess, is lagging a little bit, but the majority of them are close, if not at all-time highs, right? Tesla severely lagging behind, like substantially. So this could be the momentum that really pushes it through, or again, it can be potentially something that just ends up being a massive bull trap. And well, more pain ahead because the market is looking a little bit sketchy, a little bit, not great. I'm not gonna lie, SPY and QQQ are looking a little bit suspicious to me here. It's not looking too bad yet, but it's starting to look like we're getting to some toppy areas, at least in my opinion. Now, so that's overall what I'm looking at, and that's overall what I am projecting and seeing as of right now. All in all, it'll be very important to keep track and be watching very, very closely here moving forward. So with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Moving forward will be very, very crucial. We're entering very crucial territory here that can determine quite a bit. So a lot of ways this can play out. There's a lot of possibilities. So hopefully I'll help you guys through it, and hopefully I'll be right as well, because again, I'm just a person that could be completely wrong. Don't forget, I'm not some magician here that's just knows everything that'll happen next. I'm like anyone else, right? I'm just doing my best. So with all that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.